the internet right now. Go to our website at judicialwatch.org. And I frankly encourage you to read these documents because I'm not going to be able to describe them in their entirety to you, obviously. We can't even put everything that we want to put in a press release. The press release, I think, is 8 pages long. So go and read these documents and read about the collusion between a senior Justice Department official and an agent of Hillary Clinton, both during the campaign and after Mr. Mueller was hired. This guy Steele was funneling information. Steele, a foreign national, supposedly was a spy for the United Kingdom, funneling information into the Department of Justice while Mueller is operating. I'd like to know how much of that information ended up being used by Mueller. We know Mueller used the Steele dossier. Wouldn't surprise me if he was continuing to get information from Steele through Broussard. And these documents demonstrate, I don't think it stopped until it was publicly found out that Steele and Orr were improperly communicating with each other. When the DOJ found that out, they removed him from his number 4 position and put him back as head of the Organized Crime Division section that he was running for years and years. So the documents show the following, and I'll get into some of the details. There's a July 2016 email. Steele emails Broussard about a meeting that is to include Broussard's wife, Nellie, who then, of course, worked for Fusion GPS. Dear Bruce, Steele writes, just to let you know, I shall be in D.C. at short notice on business from this p.m. till Saturday Eve, staying at the Mayflower Hotel. If you're in town, it would be good to meet up, perhaps for breakfast tomorrow. Happy to see Nellie, too, if she's up to it. Please let me know. Best, Chris. Then on July 30th, 2016, in the middle of the presidential campaign, a Justice Department official is meeting with Christopher Steele, the foreign agent for Hillary Clinton. Orr writes, great to see you and Nellie this morning, Bruce. No, excuse me, it looks like Steele writes this. Let's keep in touch on the substantive issues. Glenn, Fusion GPS founder Glenn Simpson, is happy to speak to you on this if it would help. Best, Chris. On Friday, September 16th, just a few months before the election, Steele and Orr begin planning a meeting in the Capitol Hilton. Dear Bruce, Steele writes, I hope you are well. I am probably going to visit Washington again in the next couple of weeks on business of mutual interest. Again, this foreign national who admittedly used Russian intelligence sources on behalf of Hillary Clinton to try to smear Trump is talking to this DOJ official. I would like to see you again in person and therefore to coordinate diaries. I would read that. I don't know what that means. Schedules? Something more substantive? I don't know. So when are you going to be planning, when are you planning to be in town? Thanks and best, Chris. Sure enough, the meeting took place. Looks like they had breakfast in September. And then there's a December 8th, 2016 phone log. This is after President Trump had been elected. That shows that Broussard called Simpson for a meeting tomorrow at 3. So they're still meeting with Fusion GPS even after the election. And again, of course, remember, Steele had been fired as a confidential informant from the FBI by then. A December 13th, 2016 phone log of Orr shows he spoke with Simpson the day before and received, quote, some more news. What is that? I don't know. The log also lists that Rod Rosenstein got a call at 5:48 p.m. So that leaves the question, was Orr funneling material from Fusion GPS to Rod Rosenstein, who was the supervisor in theory of the Mueller operation? No, and he wasn't supervisor at the Mueller operation at the time. In fact, he wasn't even a member of the administration at the time. Well, no, he would have been because he may have been U.S. attorney, but obviously he wasn't at DOJ as number 2. Documents show a string of encrypted text messages between January and November of 2017, again, well after the FBI fired him. The messages are exchanged January 31st, 2017 between Orr and Steele regarding the firing of Acting Attorney General Sally Yates. Now remember, Sally Yates was the Obama holdover that President Trump allowed to be Attorney General for a time, Acting Attorney General for a time, until he had to fire her because she refused, unlawfully refused and unethically refused to defend his then proposed travel ban in the courts. Steele writes, B, Bruce, doubtless a sad and crazy day for you, Ray S.Y., Sally Yates. Just wanted to check if you're okay, still in situ, and able to help locally as discussed, along with your Bureau colleagues with our guy if the need arises. Many thanks and best as always, C. What does that mean? Who's the guy? And Orr writes, Bruce, yes, a crazy day. I'm still here and able to help as discussed. I'll let you know if that changes. Thanks. And again, Steele's still pushing to get back in the Bureau here. He had been fired 2 months, 3 months earlier. You have my sympathy and support. If you end up out, though, I really need another Bureau contact info. Point number, who was briefed? We can't allow our guy to be forced to go back home. It would be disastrous all around, though. His position right now looks stable. A million thanks, C. Who's the guy that they were trying to protect from being sent back home? Mystery. This is the problem. A lot of this is redacted. For instance, there's this meeting note with, I'll give you an example. I flagged it here. There's this meeting note with notes of a meeting with, it looks like Glenn Simpson. And it says, Glenn, possible intermediaries. Look at that. That's all blacked out. It's all B7, B6, personal privacy, law enforcement. Then Senator Grassley writes a letter in March asking about what the heck was going on with payments to Steele out of the FBI because word got out that that was taking place. And of course then, the next day, Steele and Bruce Orr start conspiring. Steele, would it be possible to speak later today, please? We're very concerned by the Grassley letter and its possible implications for our operations and sources. We need some reassurance. And then they talk about setting something up, and Steele writes, thanks for that, old friend. Please do fight our cause and keep in touch. Really fundamental issues at stake here, very best. And Bruce Orr writes back likewise, hang in there. So they had a cause, and it wasn't pro-Trump, you can be sure. Exchange beginning in March of 2017 talks about Comey's scheduled March 20th, 2017 testimony before Congress. This has been previously reported, but this is the first time we're seeing the text. Steele, hi. Just wondering if you had any news. Obviously, we're a bit apprehensive given Comey's scheduled appearance at Congress on Monday, hoping that important firewalls will hold. Many thanks. You know what's striking about this is that Hillary Clinton, you know, we're told we're not allowed to ask questions about Hillary Clinton. I mean, we're not literally told that, but the suggestion is that Hillary Clinton's off limits. Her people were in communication with the Justice Department every day, it looks like, even after she lost the election. And as I pointed out, her ally Lanny Davis is orchestrating the Cohen smear operation against President Trump. And her dossier, the dossier Hillary Clinton's campaign bought and paid for, is still being used by the Mueller operation and was used by the Mueller operation to try to investigate President Trump over. Illicitly, I would add, illicitly used. So I have a lot of questions about Hillary Clinton's knowledge and involvement and her campaign's knowledge and involvement in all of this. On October 26, 2017, Steele says she's very concerned about documents the FBI intends to turn over to Congress about my work and relationship with them. Can we have a word tomorrow, please? Just seen a story in the media about the Bureau handing over documents to Congress about my work and relationship with them. Very concerned about this. People's lives may be endangered. And then Steele writes that he spoke to Simpson about information that it was discussed with Bruce Orr. Bruce, having spoken with Glenn in London today, I now understand and appreciate what you were talking about on Saturday. These guys were talking almost all the time. these Hillary Clinton operatives and the Justice Department senior official, Bruce Ohr. Again, November 2017, a year after the election, well into the Mueller operation. Remember, Mueller was appointed when? In May of 2017? Dear Bruce, I hope you and the family are well. It's been another tough week here under the media spotlight with legal pressures bearing down on us. I am presuming blank, something blacked out. Also, we remain in the dark as to what has been briefed to Congress about us, our assets and previous work. I know you understand the importance of this, and done your best to support us. But we would be grateful if you could continue to blank. Why is that blacked out? I don't know why. Sincere thanks for everything you are doing. I hope to speak to you again soon. Chris, thanks for reaching out, Bruce writes back. I understand the difficulties and uncertainties you are experiencing. I blank. Let's plan to talk early in the week. And then, as I say, Nellie Ohr has got tons of emails and documents she's sending about Russia to Bruce Ohr and other officials at DOJ. Just page after page. Much of this isn't Bruce Ohr and Steele. It's Nellie Ohr, again, Fusion GPS employee, hired to dig up dirt on President Trump, repeatedly communicating throughout the campaign, well into 2007. Let me see what the last date is. Well, beginning in 2015, well into the campaign with the Justice Department. These are smoking gun documents that show that Hillary Clinton's operative, Christopher Steele, worked hand in glove with the Justice Department, namely Bruce Ohr. Of course, he was paid by the FBI as well. And we also know separately, thanks to Judicial Watch litigation, this dossier was misleadingly used to convince 4 FISA court judges to grant spy warrants to Carter Page, which was not necessarily about Carter Page, but about spying on President Trump. And who knows what other FISA warrants were used, I don't know, because they won't tell us. And again, this is Judicial Watch getting this information. Well, it wasn't released by Congress. It would never be released by the House Democrats, you can bet. Thank God for Judicial Watch. I don't say that just as president, but my gosh, we would never know about any of this but for Judicial Watch's litigation. And I thank you for your support that allows us to do it. I went through a lot of material here, but you're not going to hear about it on the mainstream media, so I got to give it to you here. So get the word out. If you're watching this, get the word out. Share. Comment. Make it go viral. So speaking of FISA, we want the documents. I talked about the FISA court warrant applications that Judicial Watch uncovered showing that the FBI and the DOJ under Trump, Rod Rosenstein and Obama were misleading the courts about what the dossier showed, about its origins and the biases of those who created it. They never told the courts Hillary Clinton was behind it. They never told the courts they were unable to corroborate it. They never told the courts and suggested that it was corroborated 3 different ways when in fact it was just the dossier being reported or repeated through other sources. I mean, they would say we have the dossier, we have this report, news report that bolsters the dossier. They didn't tell the court the news report was based on the dossier. And then they say we have this other dossier, which of course was just a repeat of the dossier they were using to try to get the spy warrant. It'd be like you asking me, who are your sources? And I say, I have 3 sources, me, myself, and I. I mean, that FISA warrant application was a self-licking ice cream cone. Circle within circles used to justify itself to the court. And we, of course, Judicial Watch uncovered, the court held not one hearing on the spy application targeting President Trump. Unbelievable. Dereliction on the part of the courts, in my view. But there's other aspects of the FISA warrant that were not released. I should have brought them out here to show you, but there are sections of the report that have yet to be released that those with security clearance like Devin Nunes on the Hill have reviewed.